Okay. All right, so there's some things I want to talk about. Hello, 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 hello. This, especially for those of you who are regular visitors to our page on Facebook, you will know that this was not the easiest of weeks. Last Monday, Sunday night Monday, I was notified by a friend that our Robin Kasdan Toby had passed, and I didn't say anything about it to anybody because I wasn't 100% sure the information was accurate, because nothing had been posted online, and nobody else in my community was talking about it. And so I kind of waited and asked around some other friends. Some of you know that I have been connected to the Kasdan family since I was about 15 years old. Robin's sister Debbie was actually my camp counselor for a couple of summers, and Robin's father, Rabbi Peter Kasdan, was a really important mentor to me for many, many years, and still today. So when it was finally confirmed from others in our community that Robin had indeed passed, we really wanted to make sure to honor her with proper, I don't know. It was so unexpected that she passed from a heart attack, and I'm talking about this because, one, this is someone that I cared about very much. But for those of you who've been following me for a long enough time, may remember Robin, that she was a big part of our Monday community. She's a big part of our community in general. And for a period of time, Robin was one of our moderators here, so that she would help to battle the spammers before Facebook made some things a little easier for me to do it myself. And Robin was an admin on our page, and she was just a dear friend. And she had the ability to cross over to other communities, as some people do, where they can be friends with everybody, regardless of whether the cool kids or the jocks or the techies or the Republicans or Democrats or whatever it is. And Robin had that ability, and so in that, she was also part of our Psychic Squares community, which I know has not been super active of late, as both Elias and myself and the others mentors in that group have moved on to other projects. But in the beginning, Robin was a big part of our Psychic Squares community, and she moved. She was a big part of Elias Patris's community as well. So, and so I just wanted to take a minute to honor her, and to cosmically thank her, and to make sure that everyone, had a minute to just to know how wonderful and amazing she was. And, Robin lived not far from where I went to camp, and also where I have the privilege of going back into New Jersey to work a few times a year. And we always would try to get together, but her health was always a problem. Well, it was a challenge. And Robin would never complain, and Robin would never lament. But it was a challenge for us to connect, but we always would speak. And she would never, she just never made it. What her challenges, her physical limitations, and her challenges, her health challenges, was not what Robin wanted to be known for. Robin wanted to be known for Robin. And so I just wanted to take some time today to talk about that. Okay, so the other things I want to just bring is that we are now in the waning of the Leo moon. So you may have seen that we had the Leo full moon. And it was right over the Valentine's Day, which is kind of interesting, where you have the full moon that it talks about, that reminds us to let go of things that no longer serve us, and then we have Valentine's Day, so that's talking about bringing people together. And so I just want to remind everyone that regardless of what's going on in the world, and there is a lot that's going on in the world, regardless of what's going on in the world, we are going to be okay. And I say that knowing that not everyone is going to be okay, and I'm not trying to belittle or dismiss anyone's hardships ever. But I do understand that in every generation there is something that happens that shifts the paradigm, that shifts the dynamic, that shifts how people relate to each other, that shifts how people see the world and see each other and see the possibilities for their future. And in every generation, we're still here. And that is important. And it's a little better. And in every generation, we continue to move forward. We continue to learn and grow. And sometimes it feels like we're going backwards, but that's also how we learn. That, if you follow me at all, you have heard me talk about, the things that happen for us and not to us. And that even the places where we feel like we're going backwards are parts of the universe helping us to evolve and to go forwards again. And in every generation, and it has had to face some sort of something that has been, shifting in a major way. And thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I know Robin would appreciate that so much. And so in every generation there has been something that has shifted people. I know a big part for me, was 9/11. I know, exactly where I was and what was going on and what, like everything about that day. I know, if my parents would talk about the Kennedy assassination, they know everything, like that was a pivotal moment. But the thing is that everyone who was alive in those places where, the declaration of World War II or the declaration of World War I or, whatever it is that's happening, everyone continues to go forward to do the best that they can and to stand up for what's right and to not give up the fight. And whether that is supporting a government or not supporting a government or supporting friends or not, and practicing self-care. And so whatever it is that's happening that's affecting you or your loved ones, the thing that I want to remind everyone is that we are all doing the best that we can with what's going on in our world. And it's not just the United States, it's not just Canada, it's not just Australia or India or Africa. There is stuff going on in every corner of the globe right now that is creating a shift. And we are seeing this trend toward violence. We are seeing a massive uptick of violence and racism and judgment and and hostility and people wanting to take rather than communicate and compromise or work together for everyone's best goods. And it becomes up to us to hold on to the values that are important to us. It becomes up to us to hold on to the values and the traditions, the practices, and to walk the walk. So we can get very upset and frustrated and angry, and we can say, blah, 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 blah. But then we are leaving the light behind us. And so in everything that is happening, we say the same things the same sentiment that we say with blessings of, may her memory be a blessing, may, this be a blessing, may she rest in peace. And in that, I want to draw a parallel here that is about these times that we are living in. May they be a blessing to us in some way, especially as we go forward and as we look back on them. May they be a blessing that allows us to say, we understand things differently and we are going to make different choices as we go forward. And so the thing I want to remind us all about is self-care, the priority of self-care, the encouragement to turn off the news when it gets to be too much, to walk away from people who we don't resonate with. And that's not saying that we should walk away from people we don't agree with. But when you have someone who maybe doesn't agree with you and does that in a very bullying or aggressive manner, you can certainly and should and could choose to walk away from that person. We don't need to tolerate people who are going to be rude or disrespectful. And so setting our boundaries is not just, it's not about my politics or your nationality or my nationality. It is about compassion and kindness and how we relate to each other. And when we are standing up for the things that we believe in, and we understand that the other people have the right to stand up for what they believe in, and we don't have to agree, but we do want to try and be compassionate and kind. And so in all the things that are going on in our country and in every country, and I'm really, just struck by so many things with the Israeli hostages being released in such an agonizingly slow manner, that they are not being released with kindness, and yet at the same time they are being released with goodie bags and mementos of their time. And so I want us to be very clear about what kindness is, and I'm not trying to be political, it was just an easy example to pull from. I want us to be clear about what kindness is, and that we don't have to agree with each other in order to be kind. We don't have to like the choices that others make in order to be kind. Others don't have to like the choices that we make in order to be kind. And if we lose kindness and compassion, we will have lost something very important in our society. And it is among all the things that I see going on globally right now, it is the kindness that is among the most concerning. And as Robin was one of the kindest people I ever had the privilege to know, it is the kindness that really wanted to be, not exaggerated, emphasized today. So, all right, one more thing on a personal note, and that is my Dixie dog. She is actually my older son's dog. My older son is 27 years old, and we got this dog when she was a puppy. And we think she was about 6 months old when we got her, and he was 6 when we got her. So you can do the math on that. She is a 20 to 21-year-old dog, which is very unusual. Those of you who've been around for a long enough time will remember Toby, my white Schnauzer Maltese mix, who would be in the drawer right here. Toby also lived to be 21 in our care, and so there is something really grateful and gratifying in that. But Dixie is, we are not surprisingly on the Rainbow Bridge watch with Dixie, and I know that our previous dogs, Daisy and Buster, are going to be there to welcome her home when the time comes. So we are a bit bittersweet around here these days, with not really sure what's going on. There are good days and bad days. If you have been part of helping anyone transition in your lifetime, hopefully that was a blessing and an honor in order to in being part of that. And you can know that as people and the animals transition, prepare to transition, it is very much a roller coaster. So there are good days and bad days. So yesterday was a very good day, and this morning we woke up to a parade of vomit and diarrhea all across the house, and the theme of this morning was what did I step in now? So I'm very grateful to my younger son, who still lives here too, who helped, and Dixie has been resting. I'm looking to see, I think she went back to her bed. She's been mostly resting today. So there's been a lot that's been going on around here. I share this with you because I want you to know, thank you. And I don't ever share these things to be like, oh, woe is me, I need your sympathy, or anything like this. I share these things because I want you to know that life is happening for all of us. I share these things because I want you to know you're not alone when it feels like you're the only one who's dealing with stuff, because honestly, everyone is dealing with something. And so I want you to know, and thank you. If losing a fur baby it is so heartbreaking, because, she is, like they all are, just unconditional love. And, this is a dog who's never barked in anger. She's never showed her teeth. She's never done anything. She's the queen of the snuggles. So she is, the sweetest animal you'd ever want to meet. She is the dog we use for people who are terrified of dogs. They get to meet Dixie because she is just all about headbutts and snuggles. And so I share these things not to be like, oh, me, but to be, oh, we, because this has always been a community. This has always been my goal has always been for us to be a community. This is a place where we can come together and share. And so I know most of you don't make comments on posts, but I think you can post. If you're following the page, I think you can make a post. So if there's something that's going on and you could use a little extra love and support and prayers or a word of encouragement or something, this is our community. And so it is so important that, and if I am wrong and it's not set up right on the Facebook page at least, that you can't make a post, please do tell me. And please do follow me on Blue Sky and on YouTube, because there will be a point where I'm going to have to make a move about Facebook. And I do this, and it's so hard. Because so many of you are here and it's easy, so I want this to be our community. It always has been in my mind that this was our community, and so I believe that you all on YouTube, you can certainly comment to me on Instagram, and I will always answer. But on the Facebook page you should be able to make a post. If there's something that's going on and you need a little love and support or just anything, please, we're not asking for money here, okay? But if there's something you want to say that's, kind and polite and there's something that we can support each other with, this is our space. And I want to make sure you all know that. What else? Because I want to make sure that we all understand, because sometimes, especially in times like these, it can feel like we are alone and we are in it alone and others don't understand. And I want to dispel that as often as I possibly can, to say, hey, we are together. We are not alone. You have us, you have angels, guides, loved ones, all kinds of things, but we are together, and together we are stronger. And it's just that simple. Okay, let's shift gears, shall we? All right, so the last couple of weeks, I apologize for not being here last week. We ended up at the very sort of last minute, we drove to Clearwater, St. Petersburg, on the west side of the state, to buy my husband a car. And it took the entire day, because if you've bought a car, you know that it can. And actually, this dealership was really very quick. I have to say, they from the test drive to walking out the door with the keys was about 2.5 hours. So that was really very quick for a car dealership, except that it's still 2.5 hours away back to Orlando. So as much as I wanted to be here with you, I knew that was not going to be a possibility, and we really needed to do this for my husband. His time in his current job is going to come to an end sooner rather than later, and we wanted to make sure he had a vehicle for that. So, and especially before the tariffs in this country come in on steel and etc., we wanted to make sure that he had the opportunity to get the car that he wanted before prices start to shift. So, okay, so I'm picking. Now, 2 weeks ago, if you were here, I spoke about this tiny deck of angel cards, malachim, which is the Hebrew word for angels, that was given to me by my friend from Israel, and that these cards will all laid out together make this beautiful mandala picture, which I do not have the patience to try and put together, because, I mean, this is like one of those pictures that's like 8 billion jelly beans or something. This is just, that's going to be, my brain does not do. But so how it was explained to me to use these cards was that each time you use them, you would pick 2, and that you would be able to have these as energies to guide you as you go forward into your, so in our case, we would use these as guideposts and energies to tap into for our week. And so this one is consideration, hatashivot. I'm not sure I said that correctly in Hebrew, but this says consideration, and it says it's Hebrew writing on the top, and then English, and then Arabic is below. And then this one is Hadar, which is, no, that's not a D. That's, you know what, I don't know. But it's grace. It says grace. So Hebrew is a very interesting language. This top one is Hebrew, and Hebrew does not have vowels. The vowels come into Hebrew with little dots and dashes that are like above or below or next to the letters. And so without the dashes, it's hard for me to read it. I need vowels. Whereas people who live in Israel and proficient Hebrew speakers, they don't need vowels. So I would say chasad. If I had to guess, I would say chasad is grace, and Shivot, maybe, might be for consideration, but Thank you, Sharon. I really should have known that. Chesed, you're right. Of course you're right. Chesed. Chesed is grace. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. You want to take a stab at the other one? I'll hold it up. You want to take a stab at the other one? I need vowels. I mean, I can do it. I read Hebrew, but I need vowels. So thank you. Toda Rabbah, my friend. Chesed. Grace, of course. And I should have known that. She's right, because that's a common Hebrew word. It's in many of our prayers. So, okay. So grace and consideration are the words that we want to have as our guideposts, our, little things to remind us and ponder this week, grace and consideration. And I love this because I just reached into the box and I just pulled a couple things out. But what I love about this is because, as I always tell you, the tarot cards, the angel cards, the oracle cards, they're like little eavesdroppers. And that we were talking about kindness and compassion, and here we have grace and consideration, which really fit right in there. So one more big thank you to Sharon for helping me out there. All right, so let's check in and see which of our archangels is going to be guiding us this week. And if you follow Kyle Gray, who is the angel guy, these are his card deck. If you follow Kyle, he's a Hay House author, and a lot of his products are available through Hay House. He has a new book that is coming out today about angels, and I look forward to that. It's Angels Are With You, and for me, I believe that's true all the time. So our angels, our guides, our loved ones, the spirits, the guides, the spirit animals, all kinds of things like that are always with us. So I keep looking at that word chesed, and I think it's one of those. All right, so this is 22 archangels in this card deck from Kyle Gray, and I just really like the idea of seeing who is with us this week that's going to be helping us. And this is Hamuel, and Hamuel I love. He hangs around with me a lot. I really enjoy his energy very, very much. Hamuel is kind of a practical joker, and he helps us find lost objects, and he also helps us to to lift spirits. But in here, Kyle, on the card, it says relationship assignments. It says no one crosses your path by chance. Choose to see the deeper reason for the people in your life. So this goes back to what we were talking about as well, that everything that's going on is happening for a reason, to help us wake up and to help us to evolve and to help us move forward as humanity. And I do love that, because when you think about, I always think about Hamuel as someone who brings joy and happiness, because he's a little bit of a jokester. But at the same time, I also think about Hamuel because he does help us find lost objects. And if you think about it, humanity and compassion and kindness is something that we are in danger of losing. And so having Hamuel be with us right now to help us to remember about kindness and to help us to find that part of our humanity is also really important. So this is, again, no one crosses our path by chance. Choose to see the deeper reasons for people in our lives. So this is really important, because we want to make sure that while we may choose to create boundaries and boundaries for people who are not activating out of kindness, there still can be purpose for people being in our life. And so it's important that even those people that we don't agree with, we understand that they're in our lives for a reason, because they're there to show us something. And so often those people we don't agree with can show up in our lives as a mirror, and so it's something for us to look at as well. So if somebody is irking you and is showing up in your life in a way that is you feeling frustrating, annoying, or prickly to you, perhaps to take a breath and ask why that is bothering you so much, because the people are coming into our lives for reasons, and very often those kind of people, those kinds of feelings are there to show us something about ourselves. So you know that saying where we point at somebody, we might be pointing, but there's three fingers that are pointing back to us, right? So those folks who get our dander up, we may want to ask ourselves why, okay, whether that is something in us that we're missing as well. So, all right, so let's see what the oracle cards have to say for us today. So this is breathe, and this is card 29. So 9, 10, 11. So 11 is 2. So this comes in upside down, this card breathe. And so it's just this reminder for us to stay present, for us to take a breath, to practice the self-care, for us to set those boundaries, and to be able to say to somebody, I'm walking away because of the attitude, not necessarily what you're saying, but how you're saying it, that this energy is not vibrating with me right now, and I'm going to step away, is a totally acceptable answer. So when we have the breathe card coming upside down, it's a big reminder for us to practice that self-care. It's a reminder for us to take a rest, to take a break, to just walk away and say, you know, I just need a little fill my bucket back up again. Okay, so when we have that card, it's this reminder that it's a timeout, right? That card is a timeout for us to be able to say, you know, I just need me a break. And that is okay. That it is 100% okay. It's also okay to say no as a complete sentence. If somebody asks you, do you want to go do this? To be able to say no. And one of the things that I've been practicing lately is we get this thing with no, and then we feel like we have to make a reason why. So it's nobody else's business. We don't need to justify anything. But if you feel like you may need to or want to, our next words are usually things like, sorry, I, you know, blah, blah. No, sorry, I. And so rather than saying sorry, we say, I don't. Instead of saying I can't, we say I don't. I don't have availability at that time. I don't go to these places on Tuesdays. I don't operate in that fashion, whatever it is. But don't is a much more solid place to land, to be able to say, other than to say, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't, because can't implies to the other person that something could shift so you could, and don't is a much more boundary word. Say, oh no, I don't, blah. Okay, so just something to think about. This is why I don't watch the news or check Facebook. Yeah, absolutely, self-care. Okay, so this also is upside down. This is card number 3, which is interesting because we just left, the first card was card 2. This is card 3, so that's important. This is between two worlds, but it also comes in upside down. So between two worlds, no, that won't be possible. That's great, because you're giving a very definitive, you know, can't suggest there's a possibility, but won't or don't, that's the definitive line in the sand, and I think that's great. So whatever your line is that works for you, I just feel like sometimes we need to be empowered by something that gives us permission to put the boundary, and so consider this your permission. So this is between two worlds, and so the things I want you to remember about this card is we are walking between two worlds, and that can be in so many different ways. We are walking between the physical and metaphysical. We're walking between the spiritual and the practical. We are walking between the politics of this side or that side, or the nationalities of this or that. We are always walking between two worlds, always. And so there's always something that's going on. But the thing I want you to see about this card is that this beautiful pink flamingo is going forward. This flamingo is not under duress. This flamingo is not running. The flamingo is walking. The flamingo is calmly walking forward, always going forward. And the flamingo is always coming from the dark into the light. And so whatever it is that's going on, we might be feeling like we're still over here, that we are in the darkness here. And what the card is telling us is that we are always going forward into the light. Now, when the card is upside down, we are reminded that not to get stuck in the dark. Okay, we're reminded, like, hey, this too shall pass is one of my favorite sayings, right? Because we have these things where something good, this too shall pass. Something negative, this too shall pass. Okay, so there's always this opportunity to remember that whatever it is that's going on, this too shall pass. But this card is about growth. It's about forward progress, whether it's right side up or upside down. It is about growth, and it's about remembering not to get stuck in the darkness and not to feel like this is our reality, because our reality is really where we're going. Okay, so we might not be there yet. We might still be here. We might be crossing over, but we are always moving to the light. We are always moving forward. And even in those places that feel difficult for us, that feel where we feel like we're stuck in the dark, this is a really important reminder. This is no, there will be light. The light will come. I love, they're doing a revival of Annie. The sun will come out tomorrow, Annie. And that gets a bad rap, right? The kids all singing tomorrow, right? It's one of the most grating songs in the Broadway catalog. However, it's the truth that the sun will rise tomorrow. Whatever it is that's going on, the sun will still come up tomorrow. And so it's our job, our responsibility, and our obligation to say, how can I rise? How can I lift? How can I move forward? How can I go forward tomorrow? How can I try and be better tomorrow than I was today? Chris reminds us that flamingos are born gray, and it is that their diet gives them their brilliant pink color. And if they don't have a sufficient diet, they fade back to gray. I didn't know they could fade back to gray. So that reminds us, again, self-care is really important, and that we are taking care and that we are continuing to go forward so we don't revert back into gray. So that's a really great, I didn't know that they could go back into gray. All right, so this is the third card, and oh, wow. Okay, so this is also upside down. This is co-create, and we've seen co-create. I do. I love the show, Annie. I love the song. I do. When it's sung well, it's a beautiful song. So actually, I heard somebody, a Broadway performer, who sang it as a love song, like this beautiful ballad. The sun will come out tomorrow, and it wasn't the kind of peppy Orphan Annie song. It was a mature yearning and a hopeful song, and it was beautiful. This song, you might Google it, but it was absolutely spectacular. Okay, so this card is co-create, and it is also upside down. But I'm so like from this card because it's card number 40. So we've had literally 2, 3, and 4. And so when the cards come in 2, 3, and 4, it reminds us, the numbers that go in consecutive orders remind us we are going in the right direction. Okay, so they're not going 4, 3, 2. We're going backwards. They're going 2, 3, 4. These cards came up literally 2, 3, 4. So we had the first card was the breathe card was 29. So 2 and 9, 9, 10, 11. So the 11, 1 and 1 is 2. So the numerology on this card is 2. This card is the flamingos between two worlds, is card number 3, and then this card is 40. So 4 and 0 is 4. So the co-create card, so we are, whatever is going on, we are going, oh, there you go. Thank you. I know I had just seen it somewhere. Last year's Britain's Got Talent winner. Oh, it was the little girl, right? It was the little girl? She was spectacular. I think I posted it. I know it's somewhere, you know me, and my memory is not always great. I think I posted it because it was so beautiful. It was it was stunning, this little girl. Okay, so co-create. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. So if you have a second to look up Britain's Got Talent, no, she says no. Okay, so it wasn't the little girl. All right, somebody, I could swear I posted it. Anyway, look up Britain's Got Talent. The winner, apparently, Chris Judge says she auditioned singing this version of Tomorrow that I'm referencing. Chris says her name is Sydney Christmas. Oh, I love that. And she was 28. Oh, maybe that's what I remember. Okay. I remember the little girl, too. What she sang was something really good. Anyway, so this is the co-create card, but this is literally card 40. So now we have 2, 3, and 4, right? And so this is upside down, which is reminding us that it is important that we're not getting into isolation, that we're not getting into the I can do it myself, I don't need you, and that stubbornness. And so this card is really about reminding us that we are, again, not alone. We have the angels and guides and loved ones in spirit that are all with us, trying to help us to go forward. And so we have the cheetah, who is strength and speed, and we have the owl of wisdom, and we have the egg of possibility, and the egg of fertility and of creativity. And so the owl is out on the wire by itself, but the owl is not distressed because the owl is strong and can fly and also has very keen eyesight and ears. And so we have, all of this these are not hiding from each other. The owl is not hiding from the cheetah is not trying to eat the owl. So this is all working together. Our wisdom, our knowledge, our potential, our creativity, our strength, and our stamina, all of this works together so that we are being able to go forward. And so when we get under duress, we get stressed, and this goes back to what I was sharing with you all earlier today, was to share what's been going on, because it's so important that we understand that we are all in it together, and that when we think that we're not is when we start to shrink away from the light, and we cocoon in and we break away, and that does not feed our energy. It does not lift us. This does not support us. That diminishes us. And so here is this card that comes in upside down that says, hey, we've got to stick together. We are stronger together, right? So don't shrink away. Don't block. Don't push away. Now, okay, fair enough. I get these Facebook requests all the time, either from spammers that tell me my page is going to be discontinued, or people who want to send me a friend request because, you know, they like my posts, or they make these comments, and, you know, spam, block. Okay, so I'm not talking about that. Okay, but again, I'm talking about the people where we have to set a boundary. We can walk away without necessarily having to block. That is a personal choice. You do what's right for you. But what I'm saying is we don't want to move away from everything. Okay, society right now in a lot of places is getting so tribal that we're all coming into these individual pockets, and it's like, oh, you're not in my pocket. You're not like me. I can't like you. It's like the Jets and the Sharks and West Side Story and, you know, Romeo and Juliet and all the things, and it's like. And so this co-create reminds us that we're all in this together, right? So we have the egg of the potential, possibility, and creativity, and we have the wisdom of the owl, and we have the strength and the endurance of the cheetah. We're all in it together, and it's so important for us to stay connected to each other and not to disconnect from people who we don't agree with, okay? We do want to disconnect or put a boundary in place for people who cannot be kind. Okay, but we do want to stay connected to something bigger than ourselves, whether that is spirit, that's each other, this community, that we're all in it together and we're better together. And so this is really this reinforcement of what I was saying to you before, is that this is a place for us to connect. Okay, and so we want to be embracing those places where we can connect with others. All right, so let me open it up for some cards. I feel like that's kind of as much as I need to share, or what's been asked of me to share today. So let's open it up to, Chris has put in the link on Facebook, has put the link. So if you're watching on Instagram, you may want to jump over to Facebook at some point and just check in the comments, and Chris has found the link for Sydney Christmas to sing the Tomorrow song, and if I am remembering correctly, it was absolutely a beautiful rendition of this song. So thank you, Chris, for doing that. And so if you would like a card for yourself, this is the time to ask, and we'll do a few of those, and then we will wrap it up. So Belinda and Sharon. All right, so we've got Belinda. So Belinda, this is a regeneration card. This comes in upside down. And so the regeneration card, and I'm going to turn it up, right side up so you can see it. But this is this whole burn it to the ground thing, okay? But it is about, sometimes we have to rip it all out before we can, go forward. So if you're going to paint in a room, probably you're going to take everything out of the room, or if you're going to put in new floors, or if you're going to paint, you're going to move everything to the center and cover it all up. So sometimes we have to, really let go of the past in order to be able to go forward. And so this reminds us about the phoenix, right, rising from the ashes. So while we have this ashes, you can see very clearly this tree is not dead. And also if you look at it, this tree looks like a hand coming up like this, like here I am, I'm trying to come up, and I'm going forward. So this is a time of letting things go, because this card also is 46. It's number 46. So 4 and 6 is 10. So really this is a chapter completion, Belinda, and it's also the new door that is opening, okay? So we have this with this regeneration. So it's asking you, what is it that you can just walk away from and say, done. And I'm cleaning it out so I can start anew, right? If you had mold or, anything, you would have to just rip it all out and start again and then put it back fresh. Okay, and so this is what this talking about, Belinda, is not being afraid to do what's needed to do to be able to go forward. Let go of stuff, clean it out, throw it out, discard it, let go, cut the cords, be able to let yourself close the door and be able to go forward fresh, and know that you are doing the right thing when you're doing that. And it doesn't have to be dirty and messy, and it doesn't have to be painful, just to be able to say, you know what, I'm putting a boundary in and I will get back to you later. I gotta move on. Okay. And so this is giving yourself permission to stand firm in yourself and to stand firm in what's right for you. Okay. All right, so this is really about having this rebirth as you're going forward, right? As we're cleaning out, and then we're fresh start. So very much to focus on the fresh start, and that whatever it is that you are resisting or that you have not been setting that boundary is coming anyway. So allow yourself the opportunity to welcome in the new and let go of the old. Okay, so Belinda. All right, Sharon. We have Sharon. This is here and now, and this card is 32. So this is 3 and 2 is 5. So 32, this is here and now, and this is all about being present in the moment. And I think you're on it because you had the Hebrew for us today, so I really appreciate that. But this is here and now. This is reminding you that you are literally sitting between the past and the future, okay? And so that you are, I just want to make sure this is past and future, yes. Okay, so that this is whatever is going on with you right now. This is Belinda says she's clearing out things and people. So just know that you're making space for the new to come and the new to blossom, and that things can't grow in the clutter and the darkness. We've got to make space for them to grow, and that's what you're doing. So while you're clearing stuff out, new stuff is coming in, and that's important. Okay, so for Sharon, just reminding you that you want to be present in this moment. And I know there's a lot that's going on for you as well. So just staying present in the moment. We're not worrying about the past for you. We're not worrying about the future for you. We're just staying present in the moment, and we're being grateful for what is. And we're being grateful for the blessings of the here and now. Because remember, she's sitting on the egg, which is the egg of our potential, our creativity. She's making a home in the present, right? She's stuck her flag in, and she's making a home in the present. And she just has this, I'm just going to enjoy the ride for where I am right now and be grateful for all the blessings that I have right now. And so that's for Sharon, okay? Fatima, I do see you. I'm going to come over to you in a second, okay? All right, so we're going to do Kimmy. I see Kimmy and Chris. And then I see Ellen. So we're going to do Kimmy and Chris and Ellen, and then we'll go over to Instagram. So Kimmy, this is blessed. This is blessed. I love this card. This is 22, so 2 and 2 is 4. So this reminds you about the stability, right? That support. You've heard me say a million times, 4 legs of a chair or a table. So look, she's flying through the air. She's floating on her little snail egg. She's got her wings. You can see the light coming off behind her. She's just chucking along. She's not worried about a darn thing. And so Kimmy, this is just reminding you to stay in that place of joy and gratitude. It's reminding you to just count the blessings. It's reminding you to not worry about the things that you can't control and just allow things to continue to move forward. So speculating about the future is nerve-wracking, Sharon, because we're trying to play God, we're trying to play psychic, and we can't always get out of our own way, right? This is why, I go to other readers. I don't try to read always for myself because we can't get our own emotions out of the way. So just be present for what is, and rather than worrying about what was or could be. And for Kimmy, it's really a similar message of just enjoying where you are and knowing that you're right where you're supposed to be right now, Kimmy, and knowing that you are being supported and lifted, because see, the shell is flying through the air, so she's obviously on wings of something, right? Because she's not flapping her fairy wings. The snail shell is just flying around, and so she is being supported. And so this, Kimmy, is a reminder that you are being lifted and supported, and you are being carried forward in exactly the place that you're supposed to be. So just enjoy the ride right now. That's really the bigger message for you. All right. So Chris, Fred and Ethel know what we need to talk about. Okay. So this is serendipity. It does come in upside down. So serendipity is 18. So 1 and 8 is 9. So something that's coming to the end for you, that a chapter is coming to the end. But this does come in upside down. And we're coming in upside down. We're saying, listen, that the things that you want are coming your way. The things that you want, the universe wants to give them to you, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. We're not there yet, and it's just allowing things to get into position to be able to help move you over this threshold to 10 and to be able to start the next chapter. But to think that this is a reminder as it comes in upside down, Chris, that you don't have to do everything yourself, that it's okay for you to ask for help, but it's okay to ask the universe for help, and that we're asking the universe to show us the next steps along the way, so that when we are having the serendipity, we're seeing it, we're not missing it because we're trying to, like, we're so focused on the goal that we're not seeing those places where the universe is trying to come in and help us. That when it comes in upside down, it says, hey, don't miss those signs and signals that the universe is trying to help you with, okay? So the universe is trying to line things up for you to go forward, but it might just take a little bit longer than what you're expecting. So be patient with this, but also make sure that you're paying attention so you're not missing those signs. And also to be very specific about asking the universe for what it is that you need, so that they're able, the universe and Fred and Ethel and the angels and guides are able to help to move those cogs to put things into your path. So, okay. Okay, we have, tarot readers, please don't put in a spam message, because we're just going to block you. Okay, just it's just fair warning. Okay. Where am I? Ellen. Okay, Ellen. So Ellen has a doctor follow-up tomorrow that always seems to talk down to me as you're slowly aging. Okay, so, there is something to be said about, hi Ruby, there is something to be said about Ellen, about saying, how I want to say this, let me see. Please don't speak to me like I'm 5. Please speak to me as if I am a partner in my health care. Now, my dad's a doctor, and I have had to deal with that my whole life. So thank you very much, Miss Chris Judd. I love your guts right back. And I will send you a message later today. So Ellen, I have had to deal with that my whole life. Being a doctor's daughter, my father ran a medical school, so I was very often a guinea pig. And very often doctors would talk to me like I was stupid or young or just too pretty or just whatever, that I couldn't possibly understand what they were saying. It's really, really infuriating. So just because you are old, as one of my very dear friends, Deborah Bishop, who the late great Deborah Bishop would say, did you forget what you knew when you were younger? Did you forget? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, you still know it, then, own it. So it is okay for you to stand up for yourself and for you to be able to say, Ellen, please don't speak to me like that. Please don't speak to me like I'm 5. Please speak to me like I am a partner in my health care, because they work for you. And sometimes they love, doctors and service providers of whatever it is, they love to act like they're doing us big favors. But remember, please, that you are the client and that you are the one paying for them. And while you hopefully have good insurance, that you are also the person that needs to and gets to advocate for yourself. And you are also the client. So to be able to say, I don't care for how you're speaking to me, please treat me with respect. It is okay to say this. You don't need to be rude and say, okay, we can be our own best advocate, as Sharon has said, while being firm, okay? And I find, especially as women, it is important that we give ourselves permission to say, excuse me, this is not okay with me. Please do not speak to me this way. Please speak to me as if we are a team in my health care, okay? All right, so the card for you for your doctor's appointment is, okay, so I pulled a card while I'm talking to you, so I didn't look at it yet. So this card is message in a bottle, but it's upside down. And so this is 15, so 1 and 5 is 6. So 6 is this card. The number 6 for me is about being supported, because you have the bowl at the bottom and then you have this angel protection on the top. So you have this support and protection. So you are being supported from more directions than you know with this. But with 6, with the message in the bottle card, it comes in upside down. And so really this really is your message in the bottle, that is, take out the message and hand it to the next person, right? That it is okay for you to say, this is what I need. I need the message from the doctor, but I also get to deliver my message as well. And so this is really, is the message in the bottle when it comes in upside down can be a warning that it's possible we need to look for a different doctor in the practice, something like that. It is, there's usually more than one doctor in a practice. So if you need a certain kind of care, it's possible for you to see a different physician in that practice. But it is the message in the bottle also reminds us that maybe we're not listening. So it's important that we go into our doctor's appointments or wherever it is that is happening for us, that we're trying to listen with an open mind. So as you go into the doctor's appointment tomorrow, to be able to say, I am not, I'm girded. No, we're not going in defensive. Okay. So we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to go in with an open heart, and then we're going to stand our ground when we need to. But there's something else that may be going on that you're not willing to see, or you haven't been ready to see yet. And so the message in the bottle reminds us to be open, and that we should be open to those secret messages, or the not secret, but those things that are maybe not so obvious for us to see, to pay attention to the other signs that are going on. I think most of the cards have been upside down today, so that's very interesting that I noticed that as well. So Ruby, I see you. I did say that I was going to go over to Instagram for a card over there after we finished Ellen, so let me do that, and then we'll come right back up. So interesting that you mentioned that, Chris, because now this card is right side up. So this is building blocks for Fatima. This is 28, so 2 and 8 is 10. So again, coming to the end of a chapter, end of a cycle, and getting ready to move into the new one. So this is 28. This is building blocks. And so this tells you that you are on the right track, that you are going in the right direction, that you are laying the groundwork for your next phases, for your next chapters, for your next adventures, that you're laying a solid groundwork that is going to support you. You see, she's standing up here, she's looking out, she's saying, okay, what's next? What am I doing? Where am I going? Okay, and so she's got a solid framework that is underneath of her. And so Fatima, I want you to really take strength and comfort in that, because what this card is telling you is that everything that you've been through to get to this point has made you the person that you are, that has given you the strength and the courage and the stamina and that foundation to help carry you forward to whatever is coming your way, whatever path you're choosing next. You have the skills, the abilities, the talents, all those things to help carry you forward, because everything you've gone through to this point has given you all those things that you needed. So this is one of the things where we talk about the challenges that we have, that we feel like, why is this happening? And the universe is like, no, I got you. So even though this is a struggle, it's building us up to become the person that we need to be to receive the things that we need to receive. So, or that we're trying to receive. So this is a good card. This is they're all good cards, but this is a card that tells you you already have all the things that you need. You've come through with flying colors, and you're ready for the next adventure. So that's exciting. So okay, we're gonna come back to Ruby. Ellen Jane, I wouldn't think for a second that you don't answer nicely, because you're a lovely person. But we can answer nicely with a little bit of firmness in our voices, and I know you have that in you as well. So the universe does have an awesome sense of humor. So all the cards are upside down until Chris points it out, and then the universe goes, oh yeah? So all right, we're going to go back to Ruby, and thank you for your patience. And so Ruby, this we're back to upside down. So this is the Imagine card, and this card is 20. So this is number 2. And this is the Imagine card. And the Imagine card, Ruby, tells us that everything is possible if we're willing to open our hearts, open our minds, allow ourselves to believe in going forward and trust the process and just quit worrying about it. Okay, but the Imagine card upside down says that we're, what are we looking for? Like, are we constantly looking for the negative here? So the Imagine card, when it's upside down, is reminding us that, we don't need to go find fault with things. We can welcome the possibilities, we can welcome the blessings, we can welcome, instead of trying to nitpick things apart. And I'm not saying that you're being nitpicky. It's just saying that sometimes we have those things where we're like reluctant to to lean into the gratitude, because, it's yes, but it's that yes, but thing. So, oh yeah, this wonderful thing happened. Yeah, but there's still 6 other things that aren't wonderful. Okay, so this is reminding you to lean into the yes and the thank you, because that energizes the next piece of the puzzle. Okay, so as this is upside down, you're reminded not to stifle the progress. So you imagine like a water hose, and we say yes, but we crimp it off and the water can't flow. So we want to just open that up and say thank you, yes, and what else you got, universe? What else can you bring me? Show me some more blessings. What else you got? I'm ready. Bless the heck out of me. I'll take it. I can handle it, right? So this is what we're saying. All right, so Fatima, you are very, very welcome. All right, so hopefully that helps Miss Ruby. And we're going to do one more for everybody, for the collective, and then we will wrap it up. So this also, upside down. So this is to the sea. This is card number 7. And to the sea, so this reminds us that we're going in the right direction, that we are okay. We don't have to control everything, okay? So when she's sitting in the boat, she's not looking at the compass. She's not looking at the wind thing. She's not steering the thing. She's not looking in the telescope. She's just going along for the ride. And she is not having to control everything. And so there are things that are very, very, very much out of our control right now. And it can be very frustrating and angering, and it can make us feel powerless. And the thing that is so important for us to remember is that we are not powerless. Whatever it is that's going on in our life, when we work in co-creation with the universe, we have so much more power than we can imagine, that it is so important that we are using and connecting that power, because that power is in our lane. That power is not necessarily to be like, ba-bam, and change the world. Our power is in our lane. This is where we start, right? I really love following this young woman. Her name is Jess Ekstrom. She's a positivity writer. She started a company when she was in college called Headbands for Hope. And they, for every headband, she was one of the originals that when they, every headband that you buy donates a headband to a kid in the hospital dealing with cancer. And she became a speaker, and she wrote a book called Chasing the Bright Side. And I think her second book is out or coming out. And she was young person, and now she's a mom of 2 babies. And, it just... I just really love this quote that she put this morning that was like, she was like, how about if we change go big or go home to start small at home? And I thought, yeah, that's like, let's start with worrying about what we can control and how we can manifest and how we can bring the power of co-creation into the universe into our own lives, because then we can bring that into our families' lives, and then we're going to bring that to our friends' lives, and we're going to bring it to their families' lives, and we're going to ripple out and out and out. But we have to start with where we are. We can't start from over there or over there or over there. We have to start from where we are. So starting small, starting at home, the important part is starting and getting in co-creation and collaboration with the universe. So remember, whatever is going on in the news, whatever country, whatever channel, you are not powerless. You have so much more power to create and co-create in a place of love and kindness and compassion with the universe in your lane, in your circle, that will cavitate out to others in their circles. So start small, start at home. Remember, you have so much more power, and always remember how so very much you are loved by me, by the universe, by the angels, guides, loved ones, source, spirit, ascended masters, everybody. We are so loved. You are so loved. Always remember. And I will see you next week.